between the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Prime Minister's office this morning. Earlier, on arrival of Sri Lankan Premier, he was received by the Prime Minister at the Tiger Gate. The MOUs are MOU on cooperation for strengthening youth development between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, MOU between Bangladesh Agricultural Research Council BARC and Sri Lanka Council for Agricultural Research Policy, and MOU between Directorate of Technical Education of Bangladesh and Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission of Sri Lanka on exchange and documentation on vocational qualifications. Besides MOU on cooperation for training of Bangladesh nurses and healthcare workers in Sri Lanka, MOU on cooperation between Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies and Lakshman Kadir Gamar Institute of International Relations and Strategic Studies, and MOU on cultural programs between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka for years 2021 to 2025 were also signed. Early, the formal talks of the two leaders were also held a tete-a-tete for some time. Press Secretary to the Prime Minister Ihsanul Karim said at the bilateral meeting, an entire gamut of bilateral, regional and international issues were discussed. The two leaders agreed to advance cooperation in various sectors, especially exploring new avenues in trade and commerce using all potentials of bilateral trade. Sheikh Hasina described the meeting as fruitful, saying existing institutional mechanisms should regularly meet to take forward the relationship. During the talks, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa mentioned the relations between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka is based on close bond of friendship. He praised the digital Bangladesh transformation and its performance and said that Colombo would be happy to share Bangladesh's experience in agriculture, health and education issues for the mutual benefits. Rajapaksa arrived in Dhaka on Friday morning on a two-day bilateral visit to join the celebration of the birth centenary of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and Golden Jubilee of the country's independence. President Mohammad Abdul Hamid called upon the investors of both Bangladesh and Sri Lanka to utilize the potentials of investment existing between the two countries. The President made the call during a meeting with Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at Bongo Bhavan this afternoon. On arrival at Bongo Bhavan, the President welcomed the Sri Lankan Prime Minister with flowers. President's Press Secretary and Mohammad Jainal Abidin told that during the meeting, President Abdul Hamid thanked the Sri Lankan Prime Minister for attending the celebration of birth centenary of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and Golden Jubilee of Independence. The President said both Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have made significant progress in various sectors, including ready-made garments, information technology, health, education and tourism, mentioning that more opportunities would be created for the development of these sectors through exchange of experiences. President Abdul Hamid called upon the investors to come forward in this regard. During the meeting, Prime Minister and Sri Lankan Mahinda Rajapaksa praised the socio-economic development of Bangladesh and said that Bangladesh is moving forward on the path of rapid progress. He hoped that Sri Lanka and Bangladesh would make contribution to the socio-economic development of the two countries by sharing their respective development experiences. Commerce Minister Tipu Munshi, the Sri Lankan Education Minister and secretaries to the President were present during the meeting. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa paid deep tribute to Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The visiting Sri Lankan Prime Minister showed his respect to Bangabandhu by placing a wreath at his portrait on the premises of Bangabandhu Memorial Museum at Dhanmondi 32 in the capital this morning. After placing the reed, Mahinda Rajapaksa stood there for some time in solemn silence as a mark of profound respect to the memory of the architect of the country's independence. Later, he visited the Bangabandhu Memorial Museum and signed the visitors' book. Earlier on his arrival at Memorial Museum, the Sri Lankan Premier was received by Commerce Minister Tipu Munshi, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Mohammad Shahriar Alam and Museum Trustee Muhammad Nazrul Islam Khan. Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen has expressed hope that participation of Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in the celebration of Father of Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's birth centenary and golden jubilee of country's independence will add a new dimension to the diplomatic relationship between the two friendly countries. He expressed this hope while addressing a press conference at Foreign Service Academy in Dhaka today. The Foreign Minister said various bilateral issues including open market and investment got importance in the bilateral meeting held between Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her Sri Lankan counterpart Mahinda Rajapaksa. State Minister for Foreign Affairs Shahriar Alam among others were present at the press conference. Replying to a query, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen said Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Bangladesh in due time. He said necessary security measures have been taken for all the head of states and governments who are scheduled to take part in the celebration of Bangabandhu's birth centenary and golden jubilee of country's independence. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has left Dhaka today after a 2 days visit. He left Dhaka for Colombo this evening on a special flight of Sri Lankan Airlines. Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Momen saw him off at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa had arrived at Dhaka on Friday to attend functions of a birth centenary of Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Golden Jubilee celebration of independence. Discussion and colourful cultural program with the theme Tarunyer Alok Shikha were held in the fourth day of 10-day eternal Mujib celebrations at the National Parade Ground today. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and a younger daughter of Bangabandhu Sheikh Rehana watched the cultural program from Views Gallery along with other invitees. State Minister for Information and Communication Technology Junaid Ahmed Polok moderated the function. He said Bangabandhu became a charismatic leader through participating in various movements from very young age. Present youth should follow the idols of Bangabandhu.
আত্মদান আত্মত্যাগ সাধনা প্রাণশক্তির আগুনের পরশমণির ছোঁয়া লাভ করেছে।
In the theme-based speech, Dr. Muhammad Jafar Iqbal presented different aspects of Bangabandhu's life.
একদিন শুনেছেন তার ছোট অবুঝ ছেলে শেখ কামাল বোন হাসিনাকে বলছে, হাচু আপা তোমার আব্বাকে আমি আব্বা বলি। বঙ্গবন্ধু যে তারও বাবা সেটি পর্যন্ত সেই অবুঝ শিশুটি জানার সুযোগ পায়নি।
Later, video messages of OIC Secretary General Dr. Yusuf Al-Usaimin and French Senator Jacqueline Deromedi were presented. In the second part, documentary based on life of Bangabandhu was displayed. It was followed by Japanese cultural program, a title animation video on the title Eternal Mujib, Bangabandhu's favorite songs by present artists, thematic choreography. Today's function ends with musical programming unison of artists of two generations. Responding to Bangabandhu's call to protect the motherland, the manifestation of exceptional characteristic by the Dhaka University was its biggest achievement, commenced Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry. She made the observation as she spoke at the international workshop titled Dhaka University and the Movement for Autonomy and a Liberation Struggle, organized by Dhaka University Alumni Association, marking the 100th founding anniversary of Dhaka University today. Bangabandhu Chair of Dhaka University Dr. Atiur Rahman presented the keynote paper at the workshop. Chaired by the President of Dhaka University Committee for the observation of 100th founding anniversary of A.K. Azad, the discussion was participated by Prime Minister, Energy Advisor Dr. Tawfiq Elahi Chaudhry, Professor Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed of Dhaka University International Relations Department, Professor Dr. Bhashoder Chaudhry of Bangla Department and Chairman of the 100th-year Celebration Committee, Syed Manzoor Elahi. The speaker said Dhaka University played a historical role in realizing Bengali nation's demand for its language in the struggle for autonomy and above everything its contribution toward achieving country's liberation. Awami League General Secretary Obadul Qadir has warned that those who try to destabilize the country centering the Golden Jubilee programs will be dealt with harshly with help of people. He came up with a warning at the regular briefing at his official residence today. Obadul Qadir says the Awami League is in the government, but it has not left streets, so the threat of agitations will not work.
তারা কাফন নিয়ে শাপলা চত্বরে 2013 সালের ঘটনার পুনরাবৃত্তি ঘটনারও হুমকি দিয়েছে এবং মোদির সফর প্রতিহত করার ঘোষণা দিয়েছে। ইতিমধ্যে সাম্প্রদায়িক এই অপশক্তি বঙ্গবন্ধুর ভাস্কর্য বুড়িগঙ্গায় ফেলে দেওয়ার হুমকি দিয়েছিল। উগ্র সাম্প্রদায়িক অপশক্তিকে প্রতিহত করতে আমরা দেশবাসী জনগণকে শেখ হাসিনার নেতৃত্বে ঐক্যবদ্ধ হবার আহ্বান জানাচ্ছি। সুবর্ণ জয়ন্তীর কোনো আনুষ্ঠানিকতা বিশৃঙ্খলা সৃষ্টির অপচেষ্টা করলে তার সমুচিত জবাব দেওয়ার জন্য আওয়ামী লীগ প্রস্তুত। আমরা সরকারে আছি কিন্তু রাজপথ ছাড়িনি। আওয়ামী লীগকে আন্দোলনের ভয় দেখিয়ে লাভ নেই। আন্দোলন সংগ্রাম করেই আমরা আজ ক্ষমতায়। আমরা আবারও বলতে চাই, সুবর্ণ জয়ন্তীর অনুষ্ঠানকে সামনে রেখে যারাই দেশে অস্থিরতা তৈরি করতে চাইবে, জনগণকে সঙ্গে নিয়ে তাদের বিষ দাঁত ভেঙে দেয়া হবে।
Obadul Qadir, also the Road Transport and Bridges Minister, paid deep respects to former President and Awami League General Secretary Zillur Rahman, marking his 8th death anniversary.
রাষ্ট্রপতি, আওয়ামী লীগের বেশ কয়েকবারের সাধারণ সম্পাদক, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের বীর সংগঠক, বঙ্গবন্ধু ও বঙ্গবন্ধু কন্যা শেখ হাসিনার আস্থাভাজন সহযোগী মরহুম জিল্লুর রহমানের 8ম মৃত্যুবার্ষিকী আমি বাংলাদেশ আওয়ামী লীগের পক্ষ থেকে প্রয়াত নেতার প্রতি গভীর শ্রদ্ধা নিবেদন করছি। তার স্মৃতিসূত্র আমাদের প্রেরণার উৎস হয়ে থাকবে।
Viewers, now there is a break.
বঙ্গবন্ধু ও বাংলাদেশের সঠিক ইতিহাস সমৃদ্ধ শেখ ফজলুল করিম সেলিম লিখিত তথ্যভিত্তিক নির্ভরযোগ্য বই বঙ্গবন্ধুর স্বপ্নের বাংলাদেশ পাওয়া যাচ্ছে 21শে বইমেলায়।
Welcome you back to the bulletin. 26 COVID-19 patients died in the country in last 24 hours, taking the death toll from the pandemic to 8,668. The recovery count rose to 5,20,718 after another 1,577 recovered during the period. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services confirmed this today. The tally of the infections rose to 5,68,706 with 1,868 new cases. Now, international news. France and Poland have reintroduced partial lockdowns as both countries battle a sharp rise in COVID infections in recent weeks. Some 21 million people in 16 areas of France, including the capital Paris, are affected as the country fears a third wave. In Poland, non-essential shops, hotels, cultural and sporting facilities are now closed for 3 weeks. The country has the highest new daily rates of COVID cases since November. COVID-19 global death toll crosses 27,15,000 as more than 10,000 people died yesterday globally. More than 12,30,28,000 have been infected globally and more than 9,91,52,000 people have recovered so far. The US, the current epicenter of the pandemic, has now 3,04,27,000 confirmed cases and 5,54,119 deaths. The country reported 1,268 deaths yesterday. Now news on sports. New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 8 wickets in the first ODI of 3-match series in Dunedin today. New Zealand won the toss and sent Bangladesh to bat first. The Tigers were all out on 131 runs in 41 overs, 5 balls. Mahmudullah Riyad scored highest 27 runs for Bangladesh. In reply, New Zealand reached the victory target of 132 runs for 2 in 21 overs, 2 balls. Henry Nicholas were unbeaten on 49 runs for the Kiwis. Trent Boult was adjudged man of the match for taking 4 wickets. To end the bulletin headlines once again. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka signed 6 MOUs to boost bilateral cooperation. Prime Ministers of 2 countries agreed to open up new avenues for expansion of trade and commerce. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa meets Bangladesh President Abdul Hamid. Bangladesh President calls upon investors of both countries to utilize investment potentials that exist in 2 countries. Prime Minister of Sri Lanka Mahinda Rajapaksa paid tributes to Father of the Nation, placing wreath at his portrait in Dhanmondi. Obaidul Qadir warns those who want to create instability in countries, saying their poisonous teeth to be broken, taking people's assistance. After France, Poland goes into partial lockdown. About 10,000 died from coronavirus worldwide in last 24 hours. And in Dunedin, New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 8 wickets in first of 3-match ODI series. That's all from the news for the moment. Thank you for staying with us and be